Hello and welcome to the Pro Wrestling Post podcast. I am your host with the most, Mark Blake, and as always, from across the pond, my brother from another mother, it's Mark Madison. How the devil are we, dude? It has been a while.
It certainly has. You're a sound for tired ears, and how's that saying go? I'm completely lost now that we're saying you're a sight for sore eyes, but I can't see you, so you're a sound for
Sore ears.
Yes, I guess there you go.
Yeah.
How
You
you
can tell
doing?
you can tell it's been a while. We're totally off the track here, aren't we? It's only 30
We
seconds into
are.
the recording. I'm good, my friends. Obviously, you know what's been going on in the past couple of weeks, so I'm going to fill in the millions. I haven't been very well, even though I have attended a Foo Fighters gig, which was absolutely amazing, by the way. I have not been very well. I have had this cold/flu during the middle of summer, which attacked my chest and left me pretty much unable to breathe. And then when I got over that, I thought I was having a heart attack one day, so I had to go and get checked out. As you can tell, I'm absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I have not super high, but I've got high cholesterol, which has been addressed. And the remnants of this cold/flu is still on my chest, which has exacerbated. Anyway, it's made things worse. Thank you. There we go.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So yeah, that's why we haven't been around. That's why I have not been on social media hardly. I've just been kind of resting up and not being able to do much because my wife won't let me. So I do apologise. Life keeps kind of getting in the way of the podcast record, and it's getting right on my. So I'm hoping that this is the last of the what's the word? Bad mojo, and we can crack on and all guns blazing. Anyway, how are you?
Good. Here we are recording on a Thursday, which is really weird, but with the summer months, we managed to make it work, and yeah, excited to share about the week that already was, and there's probably things that'll probably come up after the fact, but we can only do what we can do, so.
Yes, definitely. The week that was. Before we get to the week that was, I just want to quickly dip my toes into the dirt sheets a little bit and talk about WWE's newest hire and the absolute, excuse my language, show that she has caused. As you lot may know, Stephanie Vaquer from CMLL, formerly from CMLL, she was last seen majorly on the last AEW pay-per-view, where she surprised a lot of people with how damn good she is. And people at WWE were like, oh wow, she's really good. Let's go grab her. So she signed with WWE. And she's kind of dropped CMLL and a whole load of other promotions right in the doo-doo, haven't they, mate?
She certainly has. Didn't see that coming, especially when early reports are one thing, then reports are something else. There's negotiations, and then there's not negotiations, and it's a foregone conclusion. She's going to one company. But, I mean, maybe you can touch upon the honored tradition as to when it comes to when you're leaving. Like, how does it work normally on the way out?
So on the way out, if you've been picked up or your contract has expired and whatever else, you honour the dates that you've put yourself down for. So according to this, I'm literally on, I'll name drop them, I'm on Wrestle Talk website, and they have the transcripts of Dave Meltzer's Wrestling Observer Radio today. It's basically along the lines of, she told CMLL she wanted to go. They said, we won't stand in your way or anything like that. If you want to go, you can go, but just do business the right way. Now, the right way is basically honour your dates, and if you've got titles, drop them before you go. She didn't do any of that. Not at all. Where should I start? So on Monday, when she signed with WWE, she told them that Tuesday, which was when obviously Dave was talking, was last night in Guadalajara, was her last night. She wouldn't be coming to Arena Mexico on Friday. She wouldn't do any of the dates. And she's got dates all over the world. She had dates in Germany, in the UK, more New Japan Strong dates and things like that had been agreed to. I don't know. It's if I'm WWE and an incomer is coming is doing this on the way in, I'm worried because that is not very professional at all.
Not at all. There's that old adage of history repeating itself because you want to be able to have somebody that you can trust. Because if the situation is different and things are to go sour in a major company, you'd want the same thing honored, right? If she's doing it with these are major promotions, other places in the world, it really makes for a sour relationship, especially if you're trying to build one. And what if something was to work out and then they're adamant that they don't want her on a show that they're collaborating on down the road because there's animosity. That happened before with Ingonables, Los Ingonables, and I'm not sure if it was Andrade or Rush, but at the same time, there was a promotion, Mexican promotion. It may not even been a CMLL, and I apologize if it might have been AAA. But if that relationship is there, and nope, with a cross promotional, they can't be a part of it. And I want to say Andrade was probably the face that was not to be part of it because of the way things had dissolved. So it would be unfortunate because if you're trying to create these matches that are international and well talked about, you also have people with very short memories too. So just really a bad state that she went about doing it. And I would be worried, much like you had said.
Do you know what I'm worried about? Is that Triple H has been in charge for properly in charge for about a year. He's been trying to build bridges with lots of other promotions across the world. Talent exchanges, this thing with TNA right now with NXT. So, would this be a WWE thing? Would this be them saying to her, right, if you're coming in now, but you've got to drop everything? And on the same vein, if you're trying not to cause controversy, why is the head of NXT, a certain Shawn Michaels, getting involved when I don't think of a time that he's ever welcomed a new talent, especially on Twitter or social media? It's just very, very weird.
It is. It's bizarre. It doesn't seem to fit. If anything, it actually adds to the narrative of, well, was this always supposed to be coordinated that way? Like I don't know. I don't want to talk conspiracy theories, but it just way too many things pointing in the wrong direction. Like is her dropping at the hand of WWE saying, this is our decision, we need you immediately? And I don't know. I hate karma, but I just don't want anything poorly working out, right?
Yeah.
What happened with Julia, as we talked about, right? She's injured. That stalled things for her. But at the same time, it feels like those that had left Stardom, and in Julia's case, it was done the right way. She lost the titles that she lost. Oddly enough, she lost the New Japan title to Stephanie McCoy, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
It's funny how those things. Maybe it's that title specifically because there's another person that holds it. Who knows? I don't know. I'm pulling that out of my butt. But we don't know. I guess time will tell. See how this all blows over.
We'll see. As you said, we'll see. If I'm in charge of CMLL, I would have a very long memory. And yeah, I'll just leave it like that. It was just a big news story that I just wanted to talk about because it hardly ever happens anymore. This like instant, upping and leaving a promotion and literally dropping everything to go. It reminds me of like the Monday Night Wars back in the day, but yeah, it's just very, very strange, very weird. Anyway, now the little news tidbit is done. I want to talk to you. I want to interview Mr. Mark Madison, because, and forgive me, I'm not a very good interviewer. I've interviewed 2 people in my life, and it was all right. Mr. Mark Madison, where was you last weekend?
Last weekend, we were at shout out to Jack Astor's restaurant, which was wonderful as they provided me with a grilled chicken club sandwich. And no, that's probably not what you're referring to. No,
No. I think it was
no.
after that.
Okay. Oh, right. After that, my wife and I and my daughter, the 3 of us, we went down to the Scotiabank Arena to watch Money in the Bank. We also did a little tour of where there was an opened place called the Rec Room that had merchandise available, and we toured the grounds. It was really, really nicely set out. Beautiful day, great day to go walking though too. But yep, we experienced Money in the Bank. It was a ruckus crowd for sure.
Yes. Yeah. I just wanted to pick your bones. Pick your bones? That sounds wrong. I wanted to.
Scavenger, are you?
Oh, my good God. Right. Well, there's this week's open. I just wanted to talk to you about about how it was for you. You've been to like many wrestling shows in your life. You haven't really done many wrestling shows, if any, with your daughter. And I just wanted to know what your point of view was, because I'm sat at home with my wingman and we're watching the show. We're looking out for you, obviously, but thousands of people there, a very hard spot. And we're watching the matches and we're enjoying the show. And you said something to me about a day or 2 later that you watched it in a different light because of your daughter. Can you expand on that?
Sure. I think when we watch it, like as you and I watch it, we watch it as fans that are waiting for the trick. We're kind of like waiting for the wizard to come and peek his head out behind the curtain. I'm like, oh, see, that's how they did that thing, and that's kind of how we did, and almost predicting endings. And I sat between my daughter and my wife, and I sat back and I just looked at her, kind of like I looked at you when we went to go see SmackDown last year. And I looked at her, and there was just awe and amazement and wonder, and just Cody's music hit and nothing else mattered. Like, she stood up and she cheered and she sung along. She was chanting along with CM Punk. She was chanting "You Suck." Thankfully, she wasn't chanting the other things, but it was. It's funny. She would cover her ears at things that she knew wasn't appropriate. It was just the sweetest thing. She's going to be 9 this year, and she just fell in love with all of it. I mean, she was cheering for Tiffany Stratton winning, and she was just on her feet for the entrances, and she would just, with every time Jay Uso and LA Knight were striking each other, she would say yeet or yeah. I mean, it was just, the fan involvement just was genuine. There was no jaded fan waiting for, just disappointed at loss. And there was glee, and yeah, there was disappointment in the end at Cody losing, but it wasn't the be all and end all. There wasn't her needing to go on Twitter and go on a tirade on saying that somebody's getting buried, or like, it was fun. It was crazy, and the crowd was so energetic, but just to see a genuine enjoyment, right? It wasn't that they needed to know that the finish was going to be something. I tell you, we were all shocked, because I'm like, I don't think Sammy's going to win. I just have a feeling, and that's the grizzled, jaded fan in me saying that. And then he won, and like, what? I didn't see that, and it was great, because sure, it's not Quebec, but it's as close to a hometown guy winning. We all got emotional hearing. So as the show went off the air, I'm not sure if you guys had access to Kevin Owens, who gave a speech in the ring.
No, the feed had stopped. That just not long after the finish of the main event, the feed had stopped.
So just to share with you, this is like that's not a WWE exclusive, but maybe it's a it's a Pro Wrestling Post podcast exclusive. was given a microphone as he sat in the corner and had a moment, and just we're thinking he's going to share the worst, but he did share that this was the hardest week of his life. Was as committed to anybody as the two guys that were in the ring and the fans, and not a lot different from what he said on the night before, talking about how his mother would have been upset if he missed the show. But we were there and thinking, I don't know how anybody could compete under those circumstances. So, and just to see this genuine reaction from him was great, because she was cheering just along, and it wasn't the be all and end all. We went out. It was a great time with the family, and she got a new Cody Rhodes t-shirt, and she got a raccoon that's stuffed holding the Money in the Bank little briefcase. So raccoons are also called trash pandas, and raccoons tend to infestate downtown Toronto city area. So they're called trash pandas because they hang out in garbage cans, and so that's what they were called. And so yeah, it was a fun time. People were excited and people were cheering, and so it's funny, as we were leaving, we're thinking, oh my God, what's that dumb fight? There's people are actually fighting at the bull. Later on to realize that was the Drew McIntyre Adam Pearce situation.
Did you see that?
And we thought we saw it on a replay on Twitter afterwards, but as we were heading towards that area, they're like, oh no, there's a fight, there's a scuffle. I'm like, so we had to turn around and go back the opposite way. I mean, you got to keep in mind, this is a corridor unloading with the show is over, right? And we're like, great, people are being brain dead, just breaking into fights. Well, no, it actually wasn't people. It was staged and was. So, I should have thought better of my fellow Torontoians. Yeah. So we actually had to go around the opposite direction, to which I was able to go back to where I originally wanted to see and grab a shirt. They sold out of the Jacob Fatu shirts. I will tell you those. I wouldn't mind getting a Samoan werewolf one. That's looking.
Yeah.
But I got a Wyatt Six. Yeah. But they merch did well. Fans were super active and involved. But in listening to that France crowd in Lyon, as much as I want to say the Toronto crowd was great, wow, man, that's still the measuring stick for me. That is still the measuring stick. What France did, I'm still thinking about. We were loud and we were excited, but man, I could only imagine how, if it still translates to being as loud as it is on TV, I could only imagine how it was in person.
That's what happens when you're starved of pay-per-views or events. That if you go, I mean, that was Leon's first ever pay-per-view. I mean, France's first ever pay-per-view. So they're going to be insanely loud. And but as you said, I'm sat at home watching that thinking, oh my God, I've never been around a crowd like that before. And just feeling like I've sat at home getting goosebumps when I was singing songs and like Randy's entrance and amazing times. But I know for a fact that you Torontonians are loud as hell. Obviously, being there last year, as you said, with the SmackDown and LA Knight and entrance and the years and all this kind of stuff from last year was insanely loud. But
and here we are a year later, and Mark, I got to tell you, I was concerned that, oh man, is his popularity going to fade? If it faded or waned a little bit, you couldn't tell by that reaction in that crowd. He was super over. Merch was flat. It was either a Jey Uso shirt, an LA Knight shirt, a Cody. Fans knew who they gravitated towards, and he was still super over. And here we are, roughly a year later, because it would have been in August, if not more so.
Yeah, it's coming up to a year since we were there, and it sucks because obviously my wife is on the Facebook and she gets like Facebook memories, and it's getting closer to the time. And on my Google Photos, it comes up. Oh, look what you did last year, and I know pretty soon it's going to have all the pictures we had last year, and I'm going to be a right grumpy bastard. I know I am.
So, if you're curious as to where we were sitting in relation to where we were last year, we were higher and on the hard campsite. So literally, think about where you were sitting, look to your left and look up, and that's where we were. Yeah.
So for the folks, for the listeners, we was on like the middle tier last year, wasn't we?
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so I'm trying to think where the entrance way is. We were trying to think to the right corner of the ring on that middle tier. So you are up on the top tier left corner. I
Yep.
take it.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
That's where we were. So you wouldn't see me. You would have seen us just because if they're focusing on hard camera, the panoramic kind of stops midway,
Yeah.
only like left to right. It's not going to pool all the way around. But if there were empty seats, and there probably were, they were very hard to tell. It was looked like
I
a pretty
couldn't
packed crowd.
see
But
on.
looking at looking at some of the responses as far as like how the show did monetarily, I think it was listed as like the top rated arena show in Toronto for
Yeah.
I guess any paper. Like there's all sub success stories that they share. So
Yeah, it definitely it broke some Toronto records, all time Toronto records, and as you said, gross pay and the amount of merch sold. I mean, it's a good job I wasn't there because, as the millions know, I'm a bit of a merch fiend, and I would have just bought merch for the sake of merch. To be fair, I told you this. Actually, I messaged you when you was there. I kind of messed up. I said to my wingman that the show started at 1 a.m. our time, so we had enough time to go get a head down and catch some like 40 winks and then get up and watch the show. So my alarm goes off at 12:15, and I'm stretching there and whatever else. I turn on the network, and the show's already started, and I'm like, oh no! So I had to leg it upstairs, wake up my wingman, and we've come downstairs halfway through the what was the first match? Men's ladder match, men's Money in the Bank match.
yep, yep.
So yeah, I missed like obviously the first. We missed the first half of the show, first half of the match. What did you, and more importantly, what did your daughter think to the matches, like the different styles of matches, the pacing? Did she pick up on anything like that, or was it just give me the wrestling kind of fit vibe she was giving?
She wasn't looking at the nuances of things like that, but definitely she enjoyed just the enthusiasm and definitely the spots. The spots definitely got her attention and the strikes too, right? Anything that seemed like audience participation, she was all in on. Any of the spots, any of the jumps, and that's really what a Money in the Bank match is, right? It works really for the casual fan because it's
Hmm.
like guys are sitting on outside of the ring recouping while the focus is on the guys inside the ring or girls inside or outside of the ring, right? And yeah, I think that's what she really found that she got the most enjoyment out of. And clearly, CM Punk coming out not in the first match, but during the championship match. Yeah, and then that's which we kind of all thought was happening, but there were no sightings of him, no speculation, and it was almost like it made sense. But
Yeah, they
yeah,
did well.
yeah,
They did well in keeping him hidden, and
mhm,
yeah, that pop that he garnered coming out and just literally raining down on McIntyre, even at home with me and my wingman, we're just watching it going, oh my God, this is amazing. Um,
yeah.
what did she think to, and yourself actually, to Chelsea Green's insane spot?
That crowd, she was cheering for her. It was really 50-50 Tiffany. I don't even know, 50, maybe say 60-40 of like in Chelsea's favor to Tiffany Stratton. Of fans were super over with that. And that spot was a oh my God. It was
Yeah,
definitely an oh my God. She stood up, I stood up, we were just shocked. She's been known to do that before. She's done that in TNA, that off the ladder through tables.
that's right.
So it's
Hot mess
always a
gimmick.
risk though too, right? Yeah, yeah. But fans were a little disappointed when she didn't win because it would be hilarious. Like, who would be the cowardly to pick her spot on when it works? But I think it only could run so far. I think it worked in that match, and honestly, going with Tiffany sets up potentially something else happening with her and Naya if she
Yeah.
cashes in on Naya. You know what I mean? And that happens. So we were super happy for
Yeah.
her, and
storylines are all threading together nicely. I think
Yeah.
coming to SummerSlam, and then obviously you've got Survivor Series. Even if they count Survivor Series as a big show anymore, I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
it's all looking good. It's all looking good. Did you and your family have a favorite match, a favorite wrestler of the evening?
Ooh, that's. I think our favorites going in were our favorites coming out, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
I think, I think cheering for Jay Uso seemed to. We were all part of the yeeting, like all of it, and really involved in that. My daughter's super interested and excited about Cody for sure. I think really the Sammy walking out. If anything, my wife was most happy about Sammy walking out. She's like, I hate the guy that thinks that they can bully. And we look at life and art, and yeah, sometimes the bully prevails, but when they don't, I think that's what she's like. That's good. And for the most part, I found that she's even been happier with Triple H's booking in that the idea of being disappointed time and time again by a direction is less likely happened now than it was before. It's just like, care fans are gonna want this. I'm not gonna, but why not? They've already paid for the product. Why can't you make them happy to want to keep watching? Why am so angry that they upset by it? Yeah, some will continue to stick by it, but as a consumer, I mean, if your food is bad, you don't keep going to that same restaurant. Eventually, you lose their business. They'll lose your business.
Yeah,
Why would that be any different, right? So, anyways, and
totally.
that if anything, yeah, she was the most happy about that. And wow, Braun is so fast, even in person. So I like how they usually do that panoramic look above top, and how he
Yeah,
circles the ring for a spear. Yeah, it's just as fast in person. Like,
he,
wow, from
he is.
that distance.
He is a freak, and he is when he gets on top, he's going to be on top for a long time. He's
Yep.
he's ready. He's made for that company. He really is. I've totally forgotten what I was going to say. So okay, what was your highs and your lows, if there were any lows?
Low was definitely Cody, Randy, and Kevin losing. I think them losing, knowing what Kevin is going through personally, it was a low. Less about bloodline and stuff, and it probably sets up a solo Cody match at SummerSlam.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think that would be a low. For us, I think our highs, we had a few of them really, like the way in which Tiffany winning, the CM Punk running out. It was interesting. There were some things that happened that I'm not sure if the cameras caught. So after Seth Rollins is looking at CM Punk, right? I'm like, oh, they're already planting seeds for the next one.
yeah.
When the lights all went down and Punk was going back, he was wrestling with a couple of the female referees, Jessica Carr, and I'm not sure if it was Aja Smith, and like I'm like, but it looked like, did somebody try and jump the rail and attack him? Like, no, it was just they were horsing around, but the perception from the distance, like, oh my god, somebody has jumped the rail to attack CM Punk when he just jumped on them just to kind of like goof around and horse around and just wrestle with them out of nowhere, right? So yeah, that was an interesting moment. We were, as much as everybody else, confused by that pinfall between Priest and Rollins.
Yeah,
Because the referee's hand, he actually pulled up on the
that's right.
third one. Like, okay, but
So it's that was. I think it's been a production issue. Someone in the truck didn't press Drew's music. He was supposed to press at 2
right,
as the referee's hand was coming down for the 3. Drew's music was supposed to start, and it was a production
and he
issue.
didn't.
Yeah, and it didn't go on. So they all that was on the fly.
Oh, they had to like at that
Yeah,
point, because then
yeah,
they're acting like music is playing, but music is isn't playing. Oh,
yeah. That was
okay,
very strange
because it
because
was. it wasn't right away either. It's you even have Rollins thinking he won, but he wasn't really. He almost looked confused because he wasn't making a bigger deal of like, give me the title, like I won, right?
Yeah.
So
So we were sat here at home watching the show, and we thought it was a referee botch. Like everyone else thought, it must have been the referee's fault. So me and my wingman look at each other, and then we're looking at Rollins' face. And Rollins, as you said, he's got this puzzled look on his face, but he's also trying to play off the fact that he's won the title. But he looks confused and happy at the same time, if that's a thing. And my wingman, this was about 1:30 in the morning, and he was absolutely in tears, just looking at Ron's face. And then obviously, then it all started kicking in. So that 5-6 second gap where they had to fill was just unintentionally hilarious. And that was something I remember vividly now.
It must feel like when you're a performer, when gaffes that are known and recognized by not like you're not sparring, you're doing this in front of 20,000 people, and how many watching live? Those seconds must feel like hours.
It's horrible.
It has to.
I've done. I had someone in the SCPW locker room. Their family called me. They on show nights. They were like, "Are you one mistake Blake tonight? Are you two mistake Blake tonight? What are you?" Because there was one show that I did, and I announced that the next show would be a particular show, and the look I got off the promoter, the owner, that is one of the very few moments in my life where I've wanted the ground to literally swallow me up and just hide me away. Because the moment I said it and the words exited my mouth and he looked at me, I was like, oh no, what have I said? It's horrible. And it feels like hours, the next few seconds, just waiting for like some music to hit, and it's just horrible, absolutely horrible. So I feel for the guys in that respect.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're probably going to get another pay-per-view before we get one over here again. Would you go again? Would you take the family again?
I think I'd like to go again. I think this was a nice because this was kind of a combination Father's Day, I guess, thing to do, family thing to do, and the fact that it was a pay-per-view for sure. I mean, it's not the first event that we've gone to live events and we've gone to SmackDown, but as a pay-per-view, this was neat too. The weather's warm too, and the city's beautiful at that point too, and you just have people being fans, right? And it's fun and it's relaxing and you can enjoy it. And it was neat. So the John Cena, so they were advertising John Cena merch, and we're like, that's strange. Like, why are they advertising merch? But I didn't think much of it until Trish Stratus had shared, there was one time where I was a secret tag team partner of somebody. And we're like, what? And we're looking, my wife and I are looking at each other thinking, John Cena. Oh my God, he's here. That's why they're selling. So it's like the connection of it. And it was cool. And my daughter got a pop out of that. She's known about him, but she's never really seen him. And she's like, look, I really can see him. I really, yes, you really can. That's all for show. So his announcement was a little confusing because we're thinking, oh, he's retiring. And then he's like, oh, but that's going to be my last, and that's going to be my last. I'm like, is it a tour? Yeah. So initially it needed more clarity the way it came out. We thought he was just coming out and just announcing it. But it's looking like a year-long. And I guess when they said, it's going to change the landscape, well, the guy is part of the history and has been there over 20 years, whether you've liked him or not. Landscape is a pretty big thing, especially when the guy's the 16-time world champion, right?
I'm very glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask you, in your expert professional opinion, is he going to break the record? Is he going to get the title for, I don't know, a 5 minutes or something just to break the record.
If he gets it for 5 minutes, that's petty. Like, I don't think that's right either. It's almost like, okay, well, now we've just broken a record just to break a record. Like, if it's something and he's convincing in that, I think there's things that he hasn't achieved, and maybe in this retirement tour he could. An IC title win, possibly. It has to be, I guess, really with what TKO wants. And is that a WrestleMania moment, or is that winning the title on his last night and going out like a Sting, still as a champion? That'd be pretty cool too. But who knows? I think time will tell. But I think it'll be an interesting year. Lots of guys that I'm sure want to step up. People he's had a history with. I mean, does he face who's his last match against? He says he doesn't have a say, but man, I don't know how it's not against Randy. Like those guys have so much history, right?
It's got to be Randy. Can I just throw out something that's popped into my head literally just now? Go back a couple of years during the pandemic, and we had the WrestleMania with the Firefly Funhouse match.
Right,
do you reckon Cena could get involved with the Wyatt Six somehow? Would Bo want to target Cena in that way? Could it work, I should be saying?
I think if with enough effort, anything could be made to work. But I think in this regard, remember, he put The Fiend and Bray Wyatt over.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like there was unfinished business. That unfinished business was actually, yes, it was done in the pandemic and not in front of people, but I don't know. It seems like they're on this course of those that were from broken families. So I don't know if it fits the motif.
I just have a feeling.
Sure with, what do you
sorry,
think?
I just have a feeling that we've Cena committed to 45 dates spanning the whole of next year. There's plenty of scope for, I'm going to say, if they want to do long-term booking, 3 to 4 feuds during that entire year. So I how can I put it? I wouldn't be surprised if there was a program between the two of them, the Wyatt Six and him. What that would entail, where would that go? I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Do you see it outside of how it ended for him, because that was just unfortunate. It was a shame. The whole retirement tour that Kurt Angle did, do you see them being isolated, or like you said, I guess feuds, right? So who do you see him feuding with? Who do you think would be the most?
I have a feeling if he is going to break the record, it's going to be for the heavyweight championship. It won't be for the undisputed title, just because you've got Cody obviously locked up with Rock for next year. Whoever takes that, it could be Drew, it could be Punk. Punk makes sense. Have the rematch from Money in the Bank from decades ago. Well, a decade ago. You've got that. There's so many. Baron Corbin threw his hat in the ring the other day, saying that he's already retired Kurt Angle. Let's retire John Cena, which I love. I thought that was pretty cool. Although, actually, complete side note, I'm actually seeing Baron Corbin in a different light, because he does like cooking recipe stuff on Instagram. Oh my god, he's really good.
My gosh, have you seen his grilling? His grilling,
yes,
and the way he prepares his meats, and wow, I'm a fan.
You know what? There's a joke there, but I'm not going to lower myself to that. So yeah,
I walked into it.
So I've just popped you. Sorry. I just think that spanning the entire 2025, which I think is what he said, because during the in-ring segment, it sounded like he was done at WrestleMania. And then in the press conference, which was hilarious, by the way, because he overran by about 30 minutes, he kind of reiterated and said that he's got all his dates tentatively booked, and it's going to last all of 2025. So maybe he finishes on like the December pay-per-view, as you said, as champion, and then, you know, comes in on Raw the next night and goes, thank you very much, lays the title down, puts his boots, well, his sneakers in the ring and walks off. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's good. It's nice to see. It's not long-term booking as such, but it's nice to know that is on the horizon rather than, you know, being surprised. Sometimes seeing something in the horizon and knowing that's coming is a bit of a change than being surprised.
I'm wondering if where Boston or Massachusetts falls in that tour, is that going to be towards the end? Because it seems like if they're going to go that route, you know,
wow, that'll be a ticket, wouldn't it? Damn.
Yeah.
Wow. Scalpers will love that. So yeah, it's so by the sound of it, you really, really enjoyed it. And did you enjoy seeing a WWE show? I mean, as you said, you've done live events before, but with your daughter being not that much older, but older than what she was when she was at the live event, seeing things differently. Yeah. Did you enjoy seeing wrestling through a new light?
I really did. It actually made me appreciate the fact that it is always an escape. And so if I'm going to obsess over something, my gosh, I go online just to see some opinions. I shake my head. I'm like, okay, I'm looking for information. I'm not looking for the tribalism that really permeates wrestling today. No, and it doesn't matter to her. I mean, so like here we are chatting about it because that's what we do. But honestly, just the fun in having it. I mean, what's with your wingman? Do you find now he's also trained, so do you find that he looks at it with a very specific lens, or there's still that genuine enjoyment or admiration because he was at the live show too?
He was
older. He was older, so
yeah. So my wingman's 12, soon to be 13. Oh my god, he's 13 soon. I forgot about that.
Have a teenager in the house.
Yeah, I know. He's already going through that phase already. So by the time he turns 13, it'll be old hat by then. Anyway. He's done a few live events. He's done some indie shows with me. We are attending All In at Wembley. So that will be his first big show, which he's super excited for. As you said, he's not trained. He has trained. I suppose he's like half trained. The way he views wrestling now, I don't think has changed. But I think that the training has helped him appreciate what they do in the ring more. Because he can see spots that he's done, or it's like at the start of a match you do the international, so you lock up and you do a few grapple holds and escapes, and he goes, oh, I've done that. Oh, that top wrist lock looks a bit loose, and I'm sitting here, I'm nearly a 47-year-old man, and I'm flabbergasted that my 12-year-old is watching wrestling like I do, but also enjoying it more than what I do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
It blows my mind, but yeah, he appreciates it a lot more than I think other kids his age would, because he's done it and he understands it. I say to you all the time when we're watching someone like, I'm going to name drop her, Nia Jax, I always talk about her footwork. And I'm not an expert. I'm not a trained wrestler or anything like that, but I know that footwork is the most fundamental part. And sometimes Nia's footwork is goddamn atrocious. And my wingman will watch wrestling and he'll watch their footwork. And he said to me, who was it? I think it was AJ. He said that he's never seen anyone wrestle like AJ because his footwork is perfect. And my jaw hit the floor. It's like that proper like cartoon moment where the wolf's jaw hits the floor and the eyes pop out. You're like, what the hell? You're 12. You shouldn't be saying things like this. It's blown my mind. So yeah, I'm looking forward to his point of view and his take when we go to Wembley in, oh my word, 6 weeks. Just check the date. It's 6 weeks. Wow. So you never know. I might bring him on the pod one day and
For
just
that preview show. Yeah. I
see
can't wait for that preview.
what the all-in preview. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the wife is hiding my credit card because she's literally worried that I'm going to bankrupt us. But we'll see. She doesn't know I've got more than one credit card. What about you guys? You guys and girls, sorry, you millions out there. Have you gone through what we've gone through as parents? Have you attended a wrestling show, and rather than watching the match, you're watching your child watch the match? How did you feel? What did you think? Let us know in the comments. We're always here. Well, when I'm not laid up in hospital or etc. etc. But we're always here, and we always read your comments, and we get back to you and name drop you on the show occasionally. We're the stars. Joke.
Totally joking. Yeah, so that was, but Sunday turns to Monday, and there is a bit of a fallout. Nothing negative, but Toronto becomes Ottawa, and that Raw is held there. And here we are, a few days removed from that. You said you hadn't seen Raw.
No, hands up. Sorry, folks. I haven't seen Raw. I have seen Dynamite, which we're not talking about today. This is not an AEW show. No. But I've seen NXT as well. But I haven't seen Raw. I just haven't got around to it. I have obviously read a few bits and pieces online. You've seen it. Do you wanna talk about the highlights? Maybe some lowlights if there were
any? Yeah. Highlights. So I was curious what they were gonna do as a follow-up with Sammy winning. And it's weird, like there's like a group of people that are souring on Sammy. And do you understand it? Maybe you can help me understand it. Maybe I'm blind to it.
I'm an old man, mate. I don't understand these fickle fans that, hey, we love you, we hate you, we hate you. No, it's like, Sammy goddamn Zayn. The guy is it's like the epitome of the babyface nowadays, and people don't like it. Can you imagine just uprooting this fan, inverted commas, fans that like a wrestler and then turn on him? If you pick them up and take them back to, I don't know, the mid-'80s, where you got Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, who was always a goddamn babyface, would they say the same thing then? It's just
nope.
It's so I can't understand. I'm sorry. I'm the old man yelling at cloud. I'm sorry. Okay. Continue.
So the surprising. I mean, it was in Ottawa, and he was super over, and as his talent shouldn't be speaking alone, but whatever. How they were going to play off Braun losing, and he came out. And he's like, I know how these things work. You can't just ask for a title match and then within a second turns around and spears Sammy, and then continues beating down on him. And then Ilya Dragunov seems like he's been brought into this, so maybe we're gonna have kind of a triple threat in a feud where Dragunov is going to be part of this, where they're also trying to elevate him, which is great because it looked like that's what they were doing with Bronson Reed and Chad Gable, and working on the three of them and trying to have them all part and contend. Although they're going to off to win a little bit more, because gosh, his facials and the way he does what he does, gosh, they need to capitalize more on that. I'm just such a fan of Dragunov. Just his, So, I can't see him and not get Tommy Billington vibes. Like just the intensity in which he strikes and the way he looks and his stature, I guess. But from a Russian lens, I guess. And yeah, I mean, that was great to see. It wasn't tipped off so much on Raw as much as it was the night before when Finn had said, whatever you say, boss. I mean, is that laying seed to something happening there? There is definitely confusion or friction or whatever you want to call it in Judgment Day. And Damien is almost like, I warned you. And then there's actually videos of mommy coming out when she comes out at the end. and trying to go, but she didn't strike Dom. She didn't do anything other than just push him out of the way because she's upset or disappointed, right? So maybe
Yeah.
they're saving that for later on. But that was a great result and great to see that.
So what
Yeah,
I saw bits online and a few snippets of video. The Punk and Rollins in-ring chat, that cut a bit close to the bone, as it should, because there is genuine animosity between, well, from one person at least. How did that come across?
it it's as sincere as I guess Punk can be, being Punk, right? It's like I'm trying to apologize as much as that looks like it's the most backhanded "I'm sorry," and then
Yeah.
it's like, oh my god, now you're being condescending and insincere because that's just who you are. But that's the best that he can. I think they've left that for another day because they might not want too many things intertwining. But I like the gentleman's agreement, like Rollins going up to Priest, shaking his hand, saying, "Listen, you didn't get your guys involved," and Punk said, "Sorry," and then Rollins had said, "But keeping with my word, I'm not going to pursue you while you're the champ." And then Priest just saying, "Listen, since we're all being definite face turn for Priest has to be happening because there has to be this. I want to be valued. I want to be respected. Everybody's getting involved in my matches, and I'm not winning cleanly. I'm just not like that. I'm not this kind of person. I don't want to be this kind of champion. I don't know how they're going to keep him as a face, as a heel, knowing that every time someone else gets involved, he's bothered by it. So, and everybody that says, "Oh, they're doing a bad job," are you actually looking at his facials? He's not even happy with it. In storyline, he's not happy with it. It's not like he's saying, "No, no, no. It doesn't matter. Win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat." He doesn't want anybody getting involved. So, pay attention to that.
Can I just point out that I'm getting vibes from Finn back when he made Bullet Club in New Japan. There's this when Finn created Bullet Club in Japan, he wasn't a proper full on heel. He was a heel, but he wasn't a full on proper heel. He was dastardly, let's put it like that. Because that's the way New Japan was booked back then. They wouldn't have, like, the gaijins have too much time and too much, put them over too much. Here, right now, I can see him going down that route again, but because he's got 15 years of experience, well, 14 years of experience, more experience, is in America. It's a more of a storyline driven kind of show. I can see him doing that, but times 10. You know, I don't know why. I just get that feeling from the way he, as you said, from Finn's facials, the way that Finn's talking, the little stares. I'm enjoying it. I love Finn to bits. Anyone that knows me knows that I love Finn. Fergal, whatever you want to call him. He's amazing as a face, and now as a heel, he's showing you tiny bits of himself that he's never really shown before, and it's great. Sorry.
Do we see a full on implosion of Judgment Day between now and SummerSlam or at SummerSlam?
I can see. How long we got till SummerSlam? We've got 6 weeks.
Not really long.
5-6 weeks.
Not 6. No, it's like September. Sorry, it's August 3rd.
Yeah,
it's
less than that. Yeah,
it's like less than a month. Yeah,
3 weeks.
It's July. Oh,
yeah. I don't think it's going to happen for SummerSlam. If they are going to do it, it's going to be that slow burn. And is it going to cause, like as you said, is it going to cut Judgment Day into two? You know, you're going to have. Are you going to have Judgment Day, or are you going to have Judgment Day Wolf Pack? You know, it's and who's going to join whose side?
So what happens with the Rhea, Liv, Dominic scenario? How does that play itself out?
Well, I don't know if you've seen, but I don't know who broke it. It might be WrestleVotes on Twitter, but they posted the backstage run sheet for Raw, and Rhea was listed as a babyface. So make
Yes, and
of
the
that
rest
as
of
you will. Yeah.
yeah,
So
and the rest of Judgment Day's heel.
yeah. So is she going to go her own way? Possibly. I mean, Liv's always like this tweener heel kind of personality right now. So turning Rhea face makes sense. Splitting from the group, if it is going to happen, is going to make sense. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. Hearing the pop that she got as well was quite enjoyable. It's been a while since a female wrestler's got a pop that big.
Yeah, yeah. That seems like organic. Like it's come slowly. Even as a heel, fans are just loving her, and definitely not a PG character for sure. But in this new era, it feels like she can do no wrong too. And I mean, having her and Priest leaving makes the most sense in that Priest has warned them and has had no, I mean, he's had interactions with Liv, but it's been like back off and stay true to that. Whereas Finn has definitely wavered and everybody's kind of thought, well, Finn is backing down. And Carlito's like, oh, okay. JD's like, okay. So, but everybody else is so, which does lead to, like you said, if they split, see Finn being that leader. He's just, in general, it's just gravitates that way.
To be honest, I was surprised that Finn wasn't the de facto leader when Edge left. To be fair, so
yeah,
there was that like power vacuum when he left. There was no real particular person taking charge, and Damian Priest has kind of stepped up since. But yeah, I'm just surprised that Finn didn't, and now I can see him filling that void when it happens. It's not if now; it's when.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, trying to think anything else that I remember seeing on Raw. Not much else really. To be fair, I mean you've hit all the. Oh no, you haven't hit all the main points. What?
Well,
what?
no, it's not a main. It's not a main point, but it's something that will hit closer to home for you. Tyler Bate is out.
No, yeah, man. Torn
Injured.
pec.
Yeah, so it looks like they might be doing kind of a storyline that involved Pete Dunne and Sheamus. Sheamus tried to, like, hey, kind of, we celebrated Brawling Brutes, but then he pushed him away, and this looked like it involves Bronson Reed. So who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for heel Pete Dunne. Love heel Pete Dunne. I love Pete Dunne, but heel Pete Dunne's the best. So just waiting for that. But yeah, it sucks about Tyler. I saw that, and he did not long ago had surgery. He posted on Twitter saying that he's on the shelf for a bit, but he's keeping good spirits. Don't forget me. I'll be back soon, and oh, sucks. Just thought
has Tyler ever been heel, like during his time in Progress, or?
He was part of British Strong Style when British Strong Style first started, especially in Progress. They were a heel stable, but Tyler was like 19 at the time, 19, 20, and I don't know if it was because he couldn't act heel or if they were trying to cover it, but he played the reluctant heel during that time, and then they de facto turned face. That the crowd turned them face because they were being the matches they were putting on were absolute bangers. So he sort of shone when the group turned face. But I can't think of a time he's actually been heel. So yeah, I think he's another.
I wonder if the plan was. You think he's another guy that should
always stay face? Personally,
yeah.
What were you going to say?
I wonder if I thought there was going to be a plan about him and Pete winning the tag titles because we saw DIY win them on the Friday nights.
Yeah.
I mean on TV, right? And won it in the exact same way that they won.
It had to be.
It was well done.
It had to be. Yeah, it had to be really good. And then did you see the obligatory Triple H new champions like tweet? And they all copied exactly the same pose of what they did in NXT years ago.
Yeah. That's nicely done.
Cool.
Honestly, and it happened in Toronto, so that was sweet. Sweet to see.
Oh man, so Raw. That's Money in the Bank done. Raw done. I did say we're not going to talk about AEW. We will talk about them probably next time. So let's skip forward. Today's Thursday, and there's a pay-per-view tomorrow night. And again, I'm going to hold my hands up. Mea culpa, everyone, because I haven't seen TNA since the last pay-per-view. So again, I am a really crappy host. I'm going to pass it off to Mark because he's up to date on TNA Slammiversary tomorrow night.
Yeah, so there are some exciting matches. We are going to see a crossover. Well, no, we're not going to see the crossover is taking place actually as we record this tonight. Charlie Dempsey is facing Zachary Wentz.
That's right, yeah.
Charlie Dempsey of NXT. Then this is another match for tonight. What is happening? Just trying to search through.
Okay, so we've got the Digital Media and International Heavyweight Wrestling Championship. AJ Francis against PCO.
Mm-hmm.
We have the I didn't know this was happening. The X Division Championship of Mustafa Ali against Speedball Mike Bailey. That's going to be insane.
Nice. That will be.
The Knockouts Championship, which is Jordan Grace against Ash by Elegance. And then, oh my word, I've just seen the main event. I didn't know this was oh man. I so hope this happens. You've got the TNA World Championship. So you have Moose, the champion, in a 6-way elimination match. So this is going to take some time, I think. It's going to be most of the pay-per-view. So you've got Moose versus Josh Alexander versus Steve Macklin versus Nick Nemeth versus Frankie Kazarian versus Joe effing Hendry.
Oh my.
Oh wow. I'm excited. Just very quickly, my ringtone is Joe Hendry's music right now, his theme song. And it was in my car the other day. It was a warm day. The window was open and my phone was on my little phone holder as I'm driving. I pulled up at the lights and my phone rang and it starts doing this like Joe Hendry song. And as someone was walking across, they looked at me and started doing the Joe Hendry clap. I was so happy. I was so happy. I was like, yes! There we go. But yeah, that's the current lineup as of today. No, sorry, that's wrong. Apparently, this article says July 8th. So on Cage Side Seats, July 8th. That's what we got. So I don't know what else has been announced, but that's what we got.
Did you mention? I think they mentioned. I was just scrolling to. I'm trying to. Tag team knockouts. Did you mention that one?
No.
No. So Masha Slamovich and Alicia Edwards versus Spitfire.
Oh wow! I love Masha.
So that would. Yeah.
Masha's awesome. Ever since WrestleMania weekend, when I saw her about 17,000 times, I was like, wow, this girl can go. Sorry, woman can go. Oh, she's really good. No, that wasn't on my list with CagesideSeats.com.
I will say NXT next week is going to be exciting as your boys Gallus face the Rascals.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Gallus against Rascals. That's been in the making for quite a damn while. It's going to be nice. I can't wait for that. NXT is really up to its game recently since this TNA kind of crossover.
Well, I think the concern, and anybody's saying, well, is every partnership 50-50? I don't know if in wrestling terms it is, because it seems like all the big TNA names are moving over to appear in NXT. Will you see that reciprocated? Like, will you see big names from NXT appear in TNA?
Well,
and what would that be?
I think WWE's hand it's going to be forced, because when TNA had the relationship with AEW, you had Kenny O go over there quite a few times as the belt collector, and he was the world champion in AEW at the time. So maybe not a Damian Priest or a Cody going the other way, but you're going. I'm pretty sure there will be some big name stars. I mean, I could see why not AJ. AJ could go back.
Yeah, Yeah, but if they're keeping it to NXT exclusively, then it wipes out all of SmackDown and Raw's roster, right? So then
Yeah,
our
but
guys like Ethan Page or
no,
Trick Williams going to be there, and it's funny when you really compare them, the notoriety of them. Like Trick Williams has a response in that crowd, but is it the same in a TNA Asylum type environment? I don't know.
that's exactly what I was about to say. There's a difference between TNA bringing over their big stars because they're more well known. How can I put it?
Mm-hmm.
They were like probably on the indies. They've got fans that way, whereas the NXT boys and girls are literally have come from NXT. They've stopped doing the hiring from outside of like the gymnastics route or amateur
Yeah.
wrestling route. So they don't have a prior history before joining the company. So Trick Williams going over, yeah, it's going to be big, but it's not really going to set the world alight publicly because no one outside of NXT and the wrestling, how can I put it, the hardcore wrestling fandom knows who Trick is.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, even Ethan Page now the NXT champ, even if he went back over, I don't think that would draw many eyes. Although I could see him having a feud with Josh Alexander because they've got history.
Yeah.
It's
Again,
I don't know.
another
I
big
don't know.
name, another big name coming over from TNA, right?
Yeah, exactly. I just feel like WWE, as you say, is getting the better end of the deal at the moment. So there's got to be some reciprocation at some point.
Yeah.
How and when? Who and when? I don't know. Do you lot know? Do you millions out there know? Do you drop us? Who would you like to see from NXT over in TNA? And then failing that, is it anyone in WWE who you would want to have like a dream match in TNA with? Like I said, you've got Ego against Josh Alexander. That'd be great. AJ against anyone over there. I mean, Frankie Kazarian's having he's about fourth or fifth, career renaissance at the moment. He's knocking it out of the park. So seeing them two again, former Fortune members going at it. So
And
I'd
really
like to see
close
that.
friends.
Yeah, very close friends. Yeah. Let us know in the comments. Hit us up on the Twitter machine, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, MySpace. I don't know what else. What else is there? Have I named them all? TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. I'm too old for that. I'm banned from TikTok. I put my age. When you do like making an account and you put your age in, it sort of laughs at you and kicks you out the app. So, yeah, let us know.
Should we pass along our ICQ numbers?
ICQ. Oh my words! Wow.
Kids don't get it these days because now when they say, "Oh, want my Snap?" I'm like, "You want my ICQ number?" Like all 15 of them.
Oh wow! Blast from the past. Do you know what? Actually, quite a lot of our fan base are going to know what that is, and then the small percentage who are really young, like, what the hell are they on about?
Yeah, I know.
Look it up. That's all I'm going to say. Look it up.
What did they mean at the end by downloading us on LimeWire? I mean, I don't even know what that is.
LimeWire, Napster, picking up 17,000 viruses.
Yeah.
God, them's the days. You download one MP3 that takes about 2.5 hours to download, and when you open it up, you've got like viruses that send you off into all these different, very weird and strange sites.
Yep.
Not that I ever did that. I'm just talking from someone else who did it.
Sick. Yeah, of course. Me too.
Exactly. I think we're done for the evening, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, you got places to go. I've got tablets to take. God, I sound like such an old man. Oh man, Mark Blake and no beer makes me a very sad man.
When can that change? When do you think you'll be able to?
It's going to change this Sunday because I don't know if you know, but the England football team are in the finals of the European Championship. So I may be having one or two alcoholic beverages, and depending on the results, I may have more than one or two, and I may not make it to work the next day. But we will see. we will see. No, but realistically, it'll be a while. I'm allowed a couple every now and again, so Sunday will be my couple, and then I'll knock it on the head, and then yeah, we'll see how I am with the tablets in a couple of weeks' time. Just got to get heart rhythm back into normal and all this kind of stuff. I'm sorry, I'm talking to Mark now, like forgetting you lot are out there listening to this. You don't need to hear that. Let's go home. Mr. Madison, hit them up with your socials. It's been a while, so you may not remember them. I don't.
I barely remember them, and I actually log. Oh, that's what it is. You can reach the Pro Wrestling Post website's official Twitter, as official as it can be, at Pro Wrestling PST. You can reach me independently or personally at the Mark Madison. I can't even talk. It's a rough day.
It's been a long, man.
No, Instagram at Pro Wrestling Post. Search us up on Facebook. Be one of our followers. Like, subscribe. Also subscribe. You can follow and like. We are. Well, if you want to subscribe, we're also on YouTube, and you can be one of our followers there. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, go for it. That's it for me. How about you, my friend?
That's like that. Dude, we sound like 70-year-old men trying to sound down with the kids. Oh my god! Right, okay. You can catch me. You can catch me on Instagram. I will be posting more and more on there. I promise. I'll just like I said, need to get better. Again, old man knock. My username. Jesus wept. Is the _Mark_Blake. And on Twitter, I am the Mark Blake, all one word, no underscores. I'm going to go and take some Horlicks and go to sleep. I think some hot cocoa. Yeah, that's what old men do. Anything else you want to add to that, my friend?
That's it, my friend. Have a good one.
Yes. On that bombshell, we will see you. No, you won't see us. You can hear us. We'll see you. I don't know. Screw it. Bye-bye.
Adios. Oh my gosh.
What the hell happened?
I don't know what the hell happened. What the